Hare Krishna. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So I'm sorry I'm not there with all of you at the Rasa Chintamani, and I'm missing being with everyone there. And right now I'm on my European tour. I'm in Finland, and I was asked to speak about the 40 years, actually 43 years, of New Goloka history in about 5 minutes. So, Om Gana Timananda Shagaranjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmeditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Maha. First, I'd like to talk about the mission statement of New Goloka, which I've always envisioned since 43 years ago. And that mission statement is basically more devotees and happier devotees. And whatever we've done, hopefully, in the last 43 years, has been done with that particular initiative in mind, or that particular mission statement in mind. In other words, even if we're building temples or acquiring property or whatever, it's for the purpose of Vaishnava Seva and bringing more people into the Vaishnava world. So, anyway, so here's the history. Once upon a time, 43 years ago, I left my position as temple president, or whatever, in Miami, Florida, and I decided to do something adventurous, because a sannyasi is meant to do things adventurous. So sannyasi is not supposed to just sit down and enjoy life, enjoy his status, and eat a lot of mahaprasadam. So sannyasi is supposed to open up new temples, make new devotees, be dynamic in Krishna service. So I came to this part of North Carolina where you're sitting right now. And the reason I chose this particular area is that I, with a compass, drew circles around all the major population areas in this area of North Carolina, and they all intersected exactly where New Goloka is, because New Goloka is equidistant from Chapel Hill, Greensboro, Durham, Raleigh, and literally 5 or 6 million people live within a radius of 45 minutes max from New Goloka. And some a little bit more. Of course, in Winston-Salem, a little bit more. And I wanted to be in this area because there's a very high percentage of very educated people, universities, doctors, hospitals. And in this way, that's what I mainly see as my preaching or Krishna conscious sharing objective. So we did it. And we came here, and in the beginning, we just camped out at someone's house. I had a friend who lived a little bit distance away from here. And I camped out in a trailer in the backyard of their house and took a bath with a hose from their house, because there wasn't room for me in the house. And then I started to look for a piece of property, and we came across this particular piece of property, which by Krishna's mercy, I was able to acquire with practically no money, letting the owner finance it. And later on, we obtained bank financing. And we started camping out on this property in 1982, the end of 1982. We means myself and basically 2 other devotees, one brahmachari and one lady who lived in the back portion of the property. That was Mother Tulsi, and the brahmachari's name was Haryasha, I believe. Hayasha. So we camped there and didn't have any amenities, no electricity. And basically, I don't think we had running water at all. And we just had to use the grate outside for our, I think you understand, for relieving ourselves. And I would cook inside this trailer. I cooked for all the devotees. We had a Sunday feast that was basically a campfire So we'd sit around the campfire and toast our pakoras, and I did all the cooking and everything like that. And then I had the idea that we should have a temple to attract more people, because we were already attracting people for our Sunday feast. And they were getting very enthusiastic. We had 16 acres, which New Goloka is situated on right now. So then, using some of the skills I had acquired before I joined the Krishna consciousness movement, I designed the present temple room. And I also made a scale model, the present temple room. And then I began to visit some of my friends who had different businesses in the area, particularly in Greensboro at that time, but even some in Durham. And I presented this objective to them, the scale model, and some of the plans that I had designed for the temple. And they immediately were attracted to it. At that time, there were no other Hindu, Hare Krishna, or any other temples like this in North Carolina. So we were the first. And the first person gave me a large donation. He said, go for it, build the temple. Second person, same thing, sponsored the deities. And between all my friends and the different businesses here, they actually said that whatever you need, we'll provide. And you go to India, get the deities. So one of the first things I did is I flew to Jaipur, and I showed the Sthapatis pictures of what I wanted as far as the form of the deity, Radha and Krishna, or Radha Golokananda. And they started from the stone, just the stone, the marble, and started to chip away. And so they left Jaipur, came back to New Goloka. And at that point, we still had very primitive living facilities. We had half of a double wide trailer that was open to the outside, even during the winter. The pipes would all freeze, and we didn't have any heat. And it was quite an interesting austerity. But it was fun, because we were doing it for Prabhupada, we were doing it for Krishna. So eventually we started work, and I did a lot of the work myself on building the temple, laying the blocks, planning out, of course, doing the woodwork, and so much work. I had the help at that particular point of one or two other devotees who'd come during the day to help me construct the temple. And eventually, in 1985, just before Janmashtami, the temple was complete. Actually, it wasn't 100% complete at that particular point, because we were still using the mobile home that we had, that we later sold, to cook in. So in any case, the temple wasn't complete, and during Janmashtami in 1985, Radha Golokananda were installed. And actually, I did not witness the installation ceremony, because I had been working in construction so much that I fainted right before the installation ceremony, but I got up in time to do the first arti, the midnight arti for Shri Shri Radha Golokananda. Then at that point, we established the worship of Radha Golokananda. I was doing a lot, if not the most of the deity worship. And people started to come to the temple. People of all sorts of walks of life, people from India, people from the West. We did university preaching. And gradually more and more people came and joined the temple and expressed interest in the temple. And the congregation grew exponentially. I mean, right now we have, on Janmashtami, maybe 7,000 people coming. On a regular Sunday, 200 to 300, sometimes 400. You know, your Rasa Chintamani, I think you have about 300 or 400 people there for that. And so it's become a very popular temple. And one of the things I've established here, which is to me very important, and other devotees remarked on, that this is basically 100% Prabhupada temple. We've taken the position that, you know, Prabhupada is the predominant Siksha Guru for everyone in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So therefore, we have devotees who are initiated by all sorts of different gurus, ISKCON gurus, and we work together as one team. And there's no partisan spirit or groupism or anything like that. And no politics. And everyone is very, very enthusiastic to serve Sri Sri Radhagolokananda and preach. And we're very much indebted to the devotees, especially Aditya Narayan Prabhu, who has developed the preaching here to such an extent that I'm sure Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with him. And also those who serve as the temple president, Leela Shakti, the temple president, and her family, who are doing amazing service, maintaining the temple and preaching that goes on at the temple, the prasadam distribution that goes on at the temple, and so many things. And the system we set up here is quite interesting, that there's a temple president and a congregation president. And I thought this is very interesting to divide those two duties up so everyone can concentrate and everybody works together. And our next project is to build a bigger temple for Sri Sri Radhagolokananda, and we just got our permits the last week or two. And so this project will be started hopefully before Janmashtami. At least the parking lot will be started before Janmashtami. And by next year's Janmashtami, that's 2026, we will have a new temple for Sri Sri Radhagolokananda. So again, that's the brief history. As far as the secret for success, just keep Prabhupada at the center, number one. Have good sadhana. Make sure the devotees are attached to chanting the Lord's holy names, regular hearing and chanting, strict morning program, and follow Prabhupada's recipe for success. And that's it. You know, there's nothing secret, nothing super special. It's just being dedicated to the Vani and the Vapu of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So, thank you very much. Hope to see everybody soon. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.